Hi there, my name's Jane Anderson, and this is the Jane Anderson Brand You Show. It's the podcast for experts who want to have greater impact, influence, and income for their businesses and careers. As experts, we know that people buy from people and work with people who they know, who they like, and who they trust. So I'm so glad you're here because it's that time again now to really amplify how you show up in the world. Hi there, and welcome to the Jane Anderson Brand You Show. I'm so excited that you're here today. As you know, we talk everything brand you, and particularly if you have a business that is yourname.com. So today I want to talk about something a little bit, you might be the CEO of your organization, and maybe you're the rainmaker, perhaps even as your business, or maybe you're a CEO who does have a fairly strong personal brand that is part of the identity of the business. And today what I want to really do is perhaps dispel a couple of myths about LinkedIn for CEOs. I find a lot of CEOs are a little bit nervous about LinkedIn or hide away from it a little bit. So super excited to be able to cover this topic today. It's one that I love working with CEOs on and really helping them to make a difference with their business and to be able to grow it. Now, I think it's kind of interesting. Something that I find pretty fascinating is that CEOs, if you have the title CEO on social media, particularly if it's Twitter and other accounts, and LinkedIn, is that more often than not, you tend to get the most followers. And even on Twitter, I'm going to talk about LinkedIn today, but on Twitter, the research shows that around, if you're a CEO, you'll get followers around 20 times faster than any other profile. So the positioning that comes with CEO is a fairly powerful tool to be able to leverage that for business growth. And I think CEOs are really missing a real opportunity to leverage their LinkedIn profile. And I don't know about you, but I find that most CEOs I work with, some of the problems, that they're going through is that, they're a little bit isolated. Sometimes when they're working, they feel a bit alone, I think, and they're not always the expert at the social media. And so when I work with CEOs, they often say to me, I just want to understand this really simply, because when I'm working with marketing teams, they can overwhelm me or make it too confusing for me with all this, marketing and SEO and social media type jargon that I'm not sure that I'm making the right decision. And I can completely empathize. I think back when I first started my business, I had another business that I started about 6 years ago, and I personally lost around $30,000 on search engine optimization, and it just about broke my heart. And I think I still got goosebumps today around that feeling. That very early in business, I thought SEO was what it was all about, and it's certainly part of it. But I think there are other ways around it, and I really feel for CEOs because I've been in that position myself. And I think when you're being bamboozled by marketing jargon, it can become quite frustrating. And so when I'm out talking to CEOs, I talk to a lot of CEOs about LinkedIn, and I think that one of the other concerns that they've got is that if I write my profile, I'm going to be harassed by recruiters or salespeople, and there are definitely ways you can manage your profile with that. But I think some of the other things they often say to me are that I feel like it's going to open a can of worms. Do I connect with my staff? Do I not? What if I don't want to? All that sort of thing. And my advice is, generally that's sort of a Facebook thing you want to be worried about. I think LinkedIn, you do want to connect with your staff. The other thing that CEOs often say that they're a little bit concerned about is connecting with suppliers or being spied upon or things like that. The CEOs that I do work with, they will generally have been dragged to me kicking and screaming by their mentor or coach or someone like that, someone who they're working with who understands the value of it, and they've been told as part of their program that that's what they'll be doing. But I think there are really three key areas that that LinkedIn puts the fear of God into CEOs about. And I think the first one is that they're really worried that people are going to leave. If I do a LinkedIn strategy myself and then I do LinkedIn with my staff, what if they go? They're going to be harassed by recruiters and all that sort of thing because they see LinkedIn as a recruitment tool, which is true to an extent. But I think that is just a really small part of it. What my experience has been with the profiles we've built is when the profiles are built that are more positioned around the organisation and less around the pure identity of just an individual, the less recruiters that harass the staff. And so you won't necessarily get people poaching them. In fact, because if the profile is written correctly, the individual, it will show in their profile that they are so connected to the organisation as part of their identity. They don't look like a passive candidate at all. I think too that the CEO can be worried that they're going to look like a job seeker, and that's not the case at all. Again, it comes back to how the profile is written. If the profile is written saying, around the purpose of why the profile is there and how to take action, who they want to, it depends on the goal. If you're a CEO and you're looking at, maybe you're looking at strategic alliances, or maybe you're looking at the growth of your business and how you can get that to leverage your profile with that, or whatever it might be. I think the other fear that when I'm working with CEOs is that they also have a fear of looking stupid or looking like they don't know what they're doing. And so it's easier to put nothing on their profile than it is to put something up. And they can also, I think when I'm working with CEOs, and if you're a CEO and you're listening to this, it might be that you don't know how to manage. So if you see something online, like if you see a team member put something up or something goes up that you don't agree with and that sort of thing, I think that that's sometimes a concern that I hear. The other concern I hear is that I completely understand. I've coached a lot of CEOs, even in productivity. My background was working in productivity, and my experience with CEOs is you seriously just don't even have time. You don't even have time to breathe half the time. And maybe your EA is managing your profile. So one of the things I definitely see is that, they're worried that, are you going to tell me to spend 20 minutes a day on this thing or an hour a day? Like, I just simply don't have that time. And I completely understand and agree. And I think the other concern is that with competitors, I think with people doing stalking and watching what you're up to, what if they try to steal my clients? If I'm connected to clients, how can I protect my connections? That comes up a lot with CEOs. And I don't know if any of those apply to you, but I think that, there is a massive opportunity with CEOs. And the CEOs I work with, once it's up and they see the difference, they get better traction at meetings. They're able to open doors more effectively. People take them more seriously. When they're able to get to meetings, they are more influential. So I think that if they've got more profile, they have more opportunities open up and they can remove some roadblocks. So if you're a CEO and you're on the fence, I totally understand, and I don't think that it is for every CEO. You've got to be really comfortable with it. If it's not in your nature and not in your own, personality to be accessible or anything like that, or you deliberately need to be inaccessible, LinkedIn might not be the right tool. But we certainly know that networks make some of the biggest difference, and now you're validated online even before people meet you face to face. So I think with a CEO's profile, if you've got good positioning as a CEO, and most do, if you're looking at, well, how does that translate over into a LinkedIn profile? How can I brand myself, make sure my personal branding is as good digitally and online as it is out in the real world? And I think that there are really three pieces to this particular puzzle. I think the first one is your profile really needs to be built around your customer and having the customer in mind. Who are the customers you work with? What are the problems that your customer has? What are the challenges they have? Even their concerns and their fears. The content that's going to be on your profile, it'll be plugins, the search engine optimization. You've got to be easy for the customer to find. There was research done, it was 2012, that around 2/3 of customers make a decision about an organisation based on what they know about the CEO. So, the branding that's in your profile is highly leveraged, and customers can make decisions about the company, about you as well. If you don't have anything there, a customer will just make up in their own mind what they think about you. So you need to educate them. But make sure your profile is customer-centric, not you-centric. When it's about you, then that's when it feels weird and awkward. And maybe you're a CEO, maybe that's why you haven't put anything up, because your instinct is, this feels a bit, look at me, Kimmy. If you're Australian and you listen to watch Kath and Kim, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable putting you up, and your instincts are right if that's the case, because your profile is not about you when you're the CEO. It's about the customer. I think the other aspect of your profile that it really needs to be positioned around is the organisation. A good CEO's profile means that it's more about the identity of the business and it's less about you. So it's about the kind of business you have. So, why is where you work a great place to work? We know that 75% of job seekers will validate their future manager on their LinkedIn profile before they apply for a job. So we worked with a particular company, and it was a health fund. And when we wrote their profiles, something that they integrated as soon as we're finished was that they said any managers who have job adverts up on websites and LinkedIn and Seek and all that sort of thing, no job adverts go up until the leader's LinkedIn profile is written, because of that reason. So that they validate really well. We've got to look like, why would I bother going to work for you? We know that individuals, 50% of the time they'll stay because of their boss, and 50% of the time they'll leave because of their boss. So, they want to see who they're going to work for. You might be thinking, are they a good cultural fit for us? But your employees or potential employees are also thinking, would I belong there? How would I feel working there? And I think your profile, if you're a CEO and you've got your branding on your LinkedIn, is to really think about, as an organisation, why are we a good place to work? How do we contribute to the community? What's our corporate social responsibility? What's the vision of the organisation? And this is the big one. When I work with CEOs, I find they're really good at telling me what they do. 99% of CEOs that I work with, and they're often been CEOs for some time, they're so close to day that they struggle to tell me what the vision is. So if you're a CEO and trying to work on your branding, what do you want to be known for? What do you want your company to be known for? Because people are aspirational beings. They want to know where you're going, where are you trying to go? Inspire me, because if I'm inspired, I'll help you. And I think when I work with CEOs, the greatest challenge I find is that they can't always articulate their vision. So your vision could be, our aspiration is to be a global, the world's number one preferred supplier in marketing for accountants or something. I don't know. But what is your aspiration? What's that vision? If you woke up tomorrow and you had the ideal business, what would it be? Because that's what inspires somebody to go, I want to be part of that. I want to work with them. I think it's not just about you, but it's the vision and the goals for your organisation. So the first one was customer, and the second one's your organisation. And I think the third piece to this puzzle is your profile really needs to show the type of person who would be a good fit for the organisation. And again, you can see this whole integration of organisational branding, but it being leveraged through the CEO. And I think if you're trying to attract team members who could be a good fit for your organisation, we're a great fit for you if you work here, because we're a great fit for you if you're looking for blah. We're not a great fit for you if you're looking for blah. So, you've really got to spell it out, I think, and be clear about who you want working for you. That might even include, why would I work there? It might even be sharing your turnover rates or your attrition rates. Or maybe you got a great Hewitt score. Maybe if you were part of Maybe you went through a great place to work survey and you got some fantastic results. Or maybe you have been nominated for those awards or something like that. This is really important if you're part of a talent drive. And I think recruitment teams often overlook the personal branding of the CEO on LinkedIn. It's not always part of the strategy. So I think if you can really look at the intersection, if you look at the customer and the organizations, this is really about what problems do we solve and what customer problems do we have and what do we do to resolve that. And I think if you're looking at what the organization's got and the talent, this is really about making sure you cover off on your people. Why are we a great place to work? But also, why would we attract you as a potential employee? And I think the other part, if you're looking at customers and talent, that intersection across those two. Customers and talent, this is about how you feel. This is about heart. This is about, if I'm a customer, how are you going to make me feel when I work with you? What are the things you're going to make me feel better about? And if I'm talent, how are you going to help me come to achieving my potential? And the way that you do this is personalize. You've got to have some personalization in your profile. So it's got to capture the heart of you, because there are two types of, if you look at Carl Jung's work around the thinking versus feeling preferences in the Myers-Briggs tool. There's lots of different profiles out there, but to keep it simple, if you haven't heard of the Myers-Briggs type indicator, it's been around for since the 1940s, and well over, I think, about 100 million people have been through the profile, and people have either a thinking preference or a feeling preference when they're making decisions. So thinking's more like a focus on outcomes, results, and tasks, and feeling is more about feelings, emotions, and values. So I think what you've really got to do is remember that you've got those two personality parts of the personality spectrum who will be deciding whether they want to work there or not. And you really need to capture the head and the heart, so the logic and the emotion, when putting together a profile for a CEO. So if you're a CEO and you're thinking about your personal branding, particularly on LinkedIn, I would have a think about those few things. So the three things were: make sure you think about your customer, think about your organization, and think about the talent, and make sure you're capturing their head and heart. If you need some help with your profile, maybe you're a CEO, maybe someone shared this podcast with you. If you know a CEO who really needs some work with their branding, we'd be more than happy to have a chat. But, if you want some help, feel free to jump on the website. If you're a CEO and you're out doing a lot of rainmaking activity to be able to grow your business, LinkedIn is a fantastic way to do that. And you can also, if you want to jump on the website, you'll see I do lots of things like presentation skills training and blogging and all those types of things as well. But if you want to have a look at, even just your own profile first, and then look at where does LinkedIn strategy fit in terms of, brand ambassadors and things like that, you'll find some more work that I've put on it in the Connect book. So you can buy that on Amazon.com or even on my jane-anderson.com website. I've also got the online program that you'll see there, and that's where I've put my whole masterclass in there. But I reckon if you're a CEO, have a look at your profile, see if you've got those things, and if you need any help, please do let me know. So I hope this has been helpful for you. Please feel free to pass it on to a CEO if you do know someone who's a CEO and struggling a little bit with what to do. They generally know there's some potential there, but just not sure how to make the most of it. So I look forward to catching up with you on the next podcast. In the meantime, I hope you have a fantastic week.